Do you guys remember when cards like the first edition Charizard, Crystal Lugia, Crystal Ho-Oh, the original Moonbreon from Skyridge, Rayquaza Gold Star, Charizard Gold Star, Umbreon Gold Star, Lugia EX from Unseen Forces, just a few that I want to name. Do you guys remember when those cards came out and they ended up aging like fine wine in today's world, where you have collectors paying tens and tens of thousands of dollars for them 20, 25 years later? So that's what this video is about today. We're gonna look at the top 10 cards from modern eras, Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet, that will be remembered in the next decade or 2 decades. Now, before I start, I want to mention that I did not include promos on this list, just cards that have come out in expansion sets. Promos will be for another video, but I want to know if you own any of these cards, so leave that down in the comments below. Alright, at number 10, I decided to include the Mewtwo V-Star from Crown Zenith. I think this card, since it's taken the top spot in Crown Zenith, it kind of shows me that people have decided and realized that this is a very stunning artwork, and it's an artwork that tells a story. You have the Charizard promo that goes very well with this card. In the next 10-20 years, you're going to see people, trying to complete both cards in PSA 10s. It's going to be a card that's going to be super collectible, and it being Mewtwo fighting a Charizard, it's going to age very well. It doesn't sell, it's gone up quite a bit, week or whatever, month, so it has gone up quite a bit, but like I said, people are discovering and realizing that this is the top card in Crown Zenith and deserves to be. Plenty of Mewtwo collectors in the world and plenty of Charizard collectors. It's a combination for success in the long run, and it's a beautiful artwork. Full art card, difficult to pull. I know Crown Zenith pull rates are slightly better than some sets, but it's still a hyper rare. Number 10, Mewtwo V-Star. And now the next one's a little bit funny because the card is not out yet. Obviously, it's the Mega Charizard SAR from Inferno X. So I feel bad putting this on the list just because it's not out yet and we haven't given it a chance to age even a little bit. But just by looking at it, this card is going to shatter some sort of record. It's going to be a top chase card for many years, and I think it's going to be the Moonbreon of this era. You have Charmeleon, Charmander, Charizard, and then Mega Charizard X on a card, illustrated beautifully, tells a great story. It's a card that's going to age very well, and it's going to be collectible in 10-20 years. I put it high on the list because it's not out yet, and I don't think it's fair to put it any lower on the list just because of other cards that are older than this card that deserve to be at number 2, 3, 4 spots, whatever it is. So I left it at 9. Yes, it's not out yet, but I think some of us, maybe all of us, can agree this is a card that's going to be desirable at any point in time. Okay, at number 8, the Rayquaza VMAX. This one pains me to put this high on the list. This is my favorite modern card of all time. Unfortunately, is overshadowed by the Moonbreon and Evolving Skies. This card easily could have carried its own set. I'm a little bit biased because Rayquaza is my favorite Pokemon, so I'm a bit biased, but this card, although it's overshadowed by the Umbreon VMAX, this card is going to be remembered in 10-20 years. It's a part of an iconic set that will also age very well, and it's a card that got a lot of us back into this hobby. When I saw pictures of this card online, I went to my local card store immediately and I picked up as many Evolving Skies packs as they had, and I opened up all of them. Didn't pull one, but I did end up pulling one on my own from a booster bundle. That brought me the most joy I've ever gotten from pulling a card. This was my top hit of all time, I think. I don't really remember I never pulled any gold stars as a kid, or I guess what I can say is one of the cards that's made it this far in my collection and my journey is this Articuno that I pulled as a kid outside of a card shop when I was 5 or 6 years old. And I've held on to it. It's a PSA 1, Pop 13 in the world. It's beat up, but it just shows that this card's been through a lot and it's somehow made it to this point. Cards get lost, cards get destroyed, and cards get sold. This is the one card that I've held on to for a very long time, and I'm happy to own it. I'm never selling it. But besides this, the Rayquaza VMAX, greatest pull of my life, I'd say. And yeah, it's my favorite modern card. And I think it's a lot of other people's favorite card too. It's not just mine. It's a Rayquaza, it's a beautiful artwork. It checks many boxes. It's a part of a great set. It just pains me to put this high, but I'm thinking more in the long term what, collectors, younger collectors will look back at and want to collect and look at as a nostalgia card. So I put it at number 8. Okay, next up on the list, Umbreon EX. Again, this is a card that hasn't been out for very long, so haven't given it enough time to see how people treat it in the following years to see if it really does hold up to the hype that people have dropped on this card. It's an Umbreon. It's from a very in-demand set. It's hard to pull, and I mean very, very hard to pull. You know, in 10-20 years, this card is always going to be in motion. People are going to be trading it, selling it, whatever it is. It checks all the boxes. It's just this high up on the list because it hasn't been out for as long as some of the other cards. It also didn't create the same impact as the Moonbreon did. The Moonbreon was a bit more organic. This one seemed to be super inflated because people saw what the Moonbreon can sell for. So this card came out and it was immediately like over $1,500, and it was all inorganic. And so we need a bit of time to see where this card settles at and where people kind of rank it amongst cards that they want to keep in their collections and whatnot. I think it's a gorgeous artwork. It's very abstract and it has a lot of room to organically grow and not, you know, kind of what it's done these past few months. We see here it's dropped and it's dropping a bunch in price, but this price is going to pick back up at some point. There's no doubt. It's incredibly hard to pull, and I want to know if you've pulled one because I've opened up so much prismatic, and this card, I don't even know if I've seen it in real life, probably at card shows, but let me know if you've pulled it. I haven't even pulled a single SAR from prismatic. Pulled 4 gold cards, but who wants gold cards, right? Okay, next up, our first Shinji Kanda card. Sorry, I don't know if that's spoilers, but our first Shinji Kanda card. Shinji Kanda is an artist that started designing for Pokemon in the Sword and Shield era, or possibly the Sun and Moon era. He hasn't been around for very long, but we see that his cards fetch high prices, and I think they'll continue to do well in the future in 10-20 years. I think there's no artwork style like his. People are going to want to collect his cards in the future, 10-20 years. It doesn't even matter of the Pokemon at this point. The Giratina obviously is a super popular Pokemon that is very collectible, and it's from a very desirable set. Like I said, all these cards on this list kind of check those boxes. The Giratina, it's trading for $620 at this current moment. It's on the rise here, and you know, we'll see fluctuations like this for the next 10-20 years, and we'll figure out what kind of price this card settles at. But it's abstract and it's unique, and that's all you really need. And it's hard to pull. It's scarce, right? So a card that kids growing up in today's world, they're going to look back at and want to buy back when they have disposable income after college or whatever it is. The same way I bought the Rayquaza Gold Star after college and I had my own job. You know, this is my grill. This might be somebody's grill in today's world. All of these cards are somebody's grail, some kid's grail, some teenager's grail, some adult's grail. They're beautiful cards, and these are cards that if you have in your collection, I would just hold on to. There's no reason to be so in a rush to sell them. You know, if you truly like collecting Pokemon, you won't have a problem holding on to it, but we'll leave it at that for the Giratina. So for some, the spoilers came sooner than expected. Shinji Kanda card on this list is the Magikarp. And it's crazy to me that I'm including this on a top 10 list of cards that will be remembered in 10-20 years, but it's just had that kind of impact on Pokemon. And when it first came out, it was a card that stood out to me, but it wasn't, you know, at the time, I thought IRs were incapable of reaching prices past like $30 because I thought they were maybe a bit more common. You know, I thought the SIRs were always going to be the chase, and, you know, because they're harder to pull, they're textured. This one proved us all wrong, and it was the first one to do it. Like, this is the first illustration rare, just regular illustration rare. So these cards aren't textured and they're not quite as rare as SIRs. The Magikarp was the first one to do it, and it's really, really blown my imagination out of this world. Like, it's far surpassed $50 or $30. It's currently trading at $353 American, which is, you know, again, insane. But it's had that impact and it deserves to be on this list. Magikarps always do well with time. You can go back every year Pokemon's released a set and see a Magikarp that stands out in price or artwork, whatever it is. Pokemon really likes this Pokemon. I also think it's like the only Pokemon, one of the only Pokemon where the base form and the evolution are almost rivals in competition for popularity. Like, they're both incredibly popular Pokemon and super collectible. You know, there's a few other Pokemon that have that share that in common, but Magikarp and Gyarados are like completely different Pokemon and completely different collectors. I'm going off topic here. Trading at $353. This number could just keep rising in the next 10-20 years. it's safe to say that because I hate all these short-term fluctuations in price in Pokemon. It's confusing and it's hard to figure out what cards will settle at what price points. But this card, I don't see it coming back down under 200 USD ever, 250. Get it in your collections if you don't already. I don't own one. I don't really want to own one. I don't collect Magikarp very often or at all. I have maybe one or two Magikarps in my collection, but nothing that I really care about. But I know a lot of people will in the future, and this is about other people, not myself, not my own opinion. If this was my own opinion, the Rayquaza would be number one, but we'll leave it at that for the Magikarp. Okay, now for my second favorite card from the Sword and Shield era, Gengar. Gengar has taken off in popularity in the last little bit. I know he's always been very, very popular, and there's very serious Gengar collectors. I think he's gained a lot more new followers in the past little bit, and I think those followers are here to stay. I'm slowly becoming a Gengar fan. As cool as he is, he just wasn't somebody that I wanted to collect as a kid. But this card really, really grew my love for Gengar. It's perfect style of artwork for this Pokemon, and it tells the best story. It just reminds me of a Halloween children's book. It's nostalgic, and it doesn't even have to be 20 years old for it to be nostalgic. It just feels nostalgic looking at it right now. It's ranked pretty high on the list. I think we're on this is number 4 on the list, trading for $784. And so something I wanted to mention earlier is I'm not basing this list off of what they're currently selling for. I'm basing it off of where I think the cards are headed in the future. And so using today's sales data is not what I'm intended. Like, it's not going to help me determine where this card is going to end up in 10, 20 years. Yeah, this card's high on the list and it's expensive. Number 3 is the Charizard, base set Charizard for modern collectors, children, whatever it is. Although I'm not a fan of the artwork, when talked about great cards, this card is a part of the conversation, and it once again checks many boxes in a set that reignited a lot of us in this community. It's Charizard, and the artwork is nice. It's a very nice artwork. It's just not my style of artwork. It's a card that sells for $300 at this current moment, and I think this number is not going to change very, very much in the next little bit. I think it'll kind of stay stagnant along this line for a little while, and then in the future we might see it go up a bit more. I think 151 has pretty decent pull rates, so the population on these is going to be much higher than some of the other cards because it is a part of a holiday set. It's not a mainline set. The kids of today are going to love this card in 10, 20 years. There's no doubt about it. And for that one reason, it's that high on the list. It's very friendly. The card's very innocent and calm. It's for all types of collectors. Number 3 on the list. Again, this isn't my list. This is just what I think is how it's going to play out. We'll have to wait 10, 20 years to find that out. So maybe I'll remix this video in 10, 20 years and we'll see. Yeah, Charizard at number 3. Pretty self-explanatory. Iconic Pokemon. Great artwork. Cool set. That's really all you need. Okay, next up. Alright, I think by no surprise, the Bubble Mew had to have ended up somewhere on this list, and I'm ranking it number 2. This is a card with a nickname, and that might just be all you need for a card to be remembered forever. The Bubble Mew. It may be the only time we ever get to see shiny alternate arts. So, Blue Mew, I think, is a fan favorite than regular Mew. We've seen shiny Mew plenty of times, but this is one way to do it, that's for sure. And a very, very odd style of art that stands out like a sore thumb. There's no cards like this. It's currently trading at $700. Oh man, this makes me sick. I've always put off buying this card. When it came out, it was $80, and I really wanted it for $80, but I was like, maybe I'll try and pull it, whatever. I thought the pull rates were so great in Paldean Fates, so I didn't think this card would jump up so much because I thought there was going to be so many of them out there. And yeah, there is, but still, that doesn't even matter nowadays with cards. There could be 100,000 of these in the world and it can still sell for a premium price just for the tax you pay on it being a card, like a nickname card, a shiny Mew, a cool artwork. Yeah, so number 2, self-explanatory. I actually did pick up a Japanese copy. So the Japanese copy, the texture on that on that card is more emphasized around the bubble, so it's almost like it's a bit more 3D in a way. And so I picked up the Japanese copy thinking the Japanese copy would outperform the English copy in the long run. I mean, I'm wrong, obviously. The Japanese copy sells for around 500 Canadian now. 380 USD, 360, 370, not sure. Bubble Mew number 2. Not much I have to say about this card besides the fact that it's the Moonbryon of Scarlet and Violet. People are going to treat this card as such in the following years. Like, we're not going to see this card dip very low. Number 1, of course, the Umbreon. I debated putting the Bubble Mew at number 1 just because it could play out in a sort of way where in 20 years the Bubble Mew is a bit more popular than the Umbreon, but that just comes down with time. I think both these cards at the 1 and 2 spot are appropriate. Umbreon, this is a card that I think is every kid's first edition Charizard. It's that card that changed everything and defined a new path for Pokemon in these most recent years. And I think it's going to be a card that's always in motion 20 years from now. People are going to be trading it, buying it, selling it, and it's always going to stay relevant. It's always going to be a card that people want in their collections, and it's going to demand premium prices, right? Like a raw copy. Oh man, this is crazy. This is a very unorganic spike in price, but it's always been expensive. There was a time, however, when the Rayquaza was more expensive than the Umbreon. This was a $200 card Canadian when the set first came out, between $200 and $300. And then the Rayquaza was $400 to $600. And that just shows like people's new favorite Pokemon is becoming Umbreon. At least for a lot of collectors, a lot of new collectors. Collectors' passions for cards always change and favorite Pokemon change. You know, we're even seeing Gengar on the rise, like I said when I talked about the VMAX. But Umbreon, it's still always been a popular Pokemon, just now it's getting attention that it has always kind of manifested for itself. It's a very, very cool Pokemon. It's an evolution. It's one of the original. Gen 2, you know, it checks many boxes. This artwork's amazing. You pair Umbreon with a moon and a cool, like, teal sky. It's a recipe for success. In demand set 2, Evolving Skies. There's a lot that this card has going for it, and that's why it's at the number 1 spot, and that's why you see it selling for such a high price at this current moment. But, I mean, if you own one, if you decide to pick one up, it's a very, very safe hold. You're not gonna lose much on it if it ever goes down, but you have the upside of potentially making back, you know, a good chunk of money. It's hard to tell, right? This card's already so expensive and there's so many of them graded, so what really is the ceiling for a card like that? We've entered this era, this modern era of Pokemon where Pokemon's been printing more than they ever have, and we haven't let enough time pass to see how that's really going to play out in the future. But that's it for this video. Let me know if you own any of these cards, and let me know if you've pulled any of them, and let me know which ones you plan on picking up. Let me know if you agree with the list. I know some cards, maybe I didn't include Rocket's Mewtwo, but I think that's a top 12 spot, maybe 11 or 12. I just did top 10 for today. Yeah, let me know those things in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.